All right, next tip of the day today, and this one is about meetings. It's a pet hate of mine, and it's something, but it's not just a tip of the day because it's a pet hate. It's a tip of the day because it's needed. People need to be told this, and it's a lot of companies I go into all the time. My main business, by the way, is consulting with businesses that may not be bricks and mortar, but going to their offices and training them either on business or leadership, or often sales programs and things like that. And what I find a lot of the time, it's you mention something that might need a modicum of kind of discussion, and it's a case of should we let's go and have a meeting about this. Let's go and have a meeting, or when you're in, let's talk about this, and I'll schedule a meeting, and that's an hour. And it's like I get this meeting request. It's an hour. And the two rules in this thing is number one, at all times, as much as possible, default to don't have a meeting, okay? As much as is possible. So you only save meetings for extreme scenarios, such as a sensitive conversation that needs to take place in a closed environment where maybe you're not in earshot of other people. You might be there for embarrassment sense or something like that, but it's sensitivity. And the other thing is, when you're having meetings, you need to make sure that they are short. And they are short not because they have to be short, but because actually the agenda and what's being discussed doesn't ever need that much time. When you turn hour-long meetings into 7-minute meetings, it makes a world of difference to your productivity. And what you've got to do is say to yourself, instead of having a meeting, because we all know really the reason why most people have meetings is it's a nice cozy interlude in the monotony of people's working day. That sounds cynical, right? But it's kind of why people do it. I've been around corporates long enough to know that tends to be why people view having meetings as a nice little jolly. Let's go and have a little chat. We'll bring our coffees. Let's get coffees. Could you get coffees? You go and get coffees, and we'll meet you upstairs, and we'll have a nice long chat for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, because it's kind of going towards lunchtime, and then we'll get back to our desks after lunch. That will be nice. That will feel comfortable, and that's why we have our long old meetings. And when I move from there to almost some days not even, well, many days not even having a single meeting like that, I would have chats at desks for 2 minutes. So it's going to a desk is your number one, or you send an email, or you make a phone call is like your number 2 level. That's what you do if you need to communicate with someone. If you desperately have to have a meeting because it is the only way to iron something out, then you go have a meeting, but it needs to be short and simple. Here's the agenda. It's done. Move on, okay? And for instance, I had a meeting on Tuesday. It was a big meeting with a head of sales, 20 minutes. And here's the agenda, these 4 things, we nailed them, done, off you go, that's it. And we had the objectives, we had the actions that were going to come out of the meeting, we had who responsible for those actions, and we had the deadlines, when are those things going to be done by. That was it. In terms of pleasantries and chats and catch up, how are you doing, how's the weekend? Well, if we need to do that, we can do it at the start of the day or something like that. We don't need to do it in the meeting, and don't have to do too much of a catch up. Yes, of course, it's important to have that kind of culture in your business when you're chatting to people and getting on well and things. Do it at the start of the day, but in every meeting, it will start clogging things up. Always have an agenda, no matter how small the meeting is. If you have to have a meeting, have an agenda, and then stick to the agenda. And when it's done, you've finished your meeting. Off you go. Crack on. It was only 9 minutes. Well, good for you. It's quite quick, and that's all you need to do is make them super fast. But your default should be we don't have meetings at all. And there's a book recommendation. Al Pitampalli is an amazing guy who's written one of the most important books on meetings that I've ever read, or in fact in terms of productivity as well, which is called Read This Before Our Next Meeting. The guy has gone into the likes of NASA, and I think he's gone into IBM and companies like that. He's worked with the Pentagon or something, I think, and basically he's gone in and revolutionized how they look at meetings. A really good book, very short read, it's like a pamphlet, is up here somewhere. And it's something you should check out because it shows you how important it is to be productive. So he will take it more than just the nutshell I've given this. But that's important. Look at your meetings. Do you really need them? Are you doing it because they're nice and cuddly and cozy? Probably is the case for many. If you need it, fine. If not, default to not doing it, or just go to the desk and just ask them, and that's done, and we can move on. And it's a good way of staying productive, staying on point during the day, and getting on with your work rather than bogging yourself down with these kind of things. Hope that helps, and I'll catch up with you on next tip of the day. Like it if you do, yeah, any comments you have, be interested in what you view meetings as. Are they important really? Do you find they are essential for you, or actually am I right that often they're just a kind of a nice warm fuzzy cuddly little thing that we do every day just because? Okay, catch up with you later.